Carl Jung once worked with a man who frightened him deeply, not because the man was dangerous or violent, but because he appeared perfectly good, respected, polite, disciplined, and morally upright, the kind of person everyone instinctively trusted. Yet Jung sensed something off. Beneath the flawless surface, tension was building. Small cracks showed, passive-aggressive comments masked as politeness, a quiet satisfaction when others failed, and an intense need to control how people saw him. Jung realized the terrifying truth. This man wasn't free from darkness. He had buried it so completely that it now controlled him from the unconscious. This observation led Jung to one of his most powerful insights. The parts of ourselves we reject don't vanish. They sink into the shadow and begin running our lives from behind the scenes. Most people never notice this, because the mind prioritizes protecting our self-image over facing reality. If you see yourself as the nice person, your mind will cleverly disguise anything that threatens that image. Jealousy becomes concern. Control becomes caring. Manipulation gets repackaged as love. The surface stays clean, but pressure keeps building underneath. That's why the most dangerous people are often not the openly cruel ones. They're the unconscious ones. People don't always resent your weakness. They resent the moment you start outgrowing them. When you become stronger, more confident, or more independent, it disturbs their comfort. You'll feel it in subtle ways: support that fades after your success, friends who withdraw when you set boundaries, or people who liked you better when you were smaller and needed them. The moment you begin this inner work, you start seeing hidden motives everywhere, not because the world suddenly turned dark, but because the filter is gone. And eventually, that awareness turns inward. You see how much of your own kindness was actually fear of rejection, how your silence was fear of conflict, how your morality depended on never being truly tempted. This is when the shadow first appears, not as a monster but as raw honesty. And once you see it clearly, you can never fully go back to your old self. Self-awareness doesn't immediately bring peace. At first, it brings discomfort. You begin noticing how much of human behavior is driven by unconscious needs, the need for approval, power, superiority, or to feel emotionally essential to others. Ordinary conversations stop feeling ordinary. You see status games, subtle tests, and how groups unconsciously punish those who change too quickly. Many friendships only survive because one person stays smaller. Most of this happens without conscious intent, which makes it even more unsettling. A person can genuinely believe they love you while quietly resenting your freedom. They can cheer for you in public while competing with you in private. They can help you while secretly hoping you stay broken enough to keep needing them. Jung taught that the shadow becomes truly dangerous when it stays unconscious. Denied parts don't disappear, they mutate. Suppressed anger turns into passive aggression. Denied selfishness becomes controlling helpfulness. Obsession with appearing pure often leads to subtle cruelty. The shadow leaks out in overreactions, irrational jealousy, or sudden hostility toward people who carry the qualities we abandoned in ourselves. Confidence triggers the insecure. Freedom threatens the controlled. Authenticity disturbs the performers. When you start changing, becoming more disciplined, attractive, confident, or boundary-focused, the reactions come. Jokes get sharper. Support grows quieter. Warmth becomes conditional. Your growth forces others to face their own stagnation, and many would rather pull you back than face themselves. This is why meeting your shadow permanently changes your relationships. You stop taking words at face value and start seeing patterns. Who disappears when you rise? Who gets uncomfortable when you stop tolerating disrespect? Who only felt safe around your weaker version? The darkest realization comes when you see the same patterns in yourself. Part of you once enjoyed being needed. Part of you benefited from others staying small. Suffering can become an identity. Victimhood can become a form of control. Weakness can attract attention and protection without ever asking directly. The shadow is rarely loud and dramatic. That's why so many never meet it. They spend their lives protecting a comfortable self-image rather than facing truth. But once seen, truth reshapes everything. You begin understanding that most people aren't really interacting with reality. They're interacting with their own unresolved wounds. The man obsessed with respect was likely abandoned as a child. The woman addicted to control was betrayed too many times. Personalities form around old pain and compensation. This awareness creates distance, not from arrogance but from clarity. Conversations start feeling like performances. Smiles feel like negotiations. Attraction reveals power dynamics. You stop mistaking intense chemistry for healthy connection and start asking, which part of my shadow is recognizing theirs? Love, friendship, and even morality look different. You realize how mixed human motives truly are. Generosity can hide ego, sacrifice can hide control, love can hide fear. Yet the shadow doesn't only hold darkness, it also holds buried gold, aggression for protection, ambition for growth, confidence for boundaries, creativity that was shamed into silence. Integration doesn't make you pure, it makes you whole. A conscious shadow is far less dangerous than an unconscious mask, pretending to be only light. After this meeting, something inside you grows quieter. You stop needing to appear perfectly good. You stop dividing the world into heroes and villains. You understand that under the right conditions, almost anyone is capable of anything. You become slower to idolize, slower to judge, slower to trust appearances. You see that civilized behavior is often just negotiated instinct. A smile can hide resentment. Charm can hide manipulation. Empathy can hide control. And most importantly, you lose the desire to completely condemn others because you recognize the same machinery inside yourself. This is the real price and gift of shadow work. It dissolves false certainty. It replaces comfortable illusions with complex truth. Most people avoid it. They choose distraction, busyness, validation, anything to avoid silence and self-confrontation. But for those who dare to look honestly, the world never looks the same again.